none of us are from New York, right? And
right, yeah.
Right? I was like,
fuck.
fuck.
I was born here, but I wasn't raised here.
Okay, well, yeah.
But
So,
I consider myself from Miami, unfortunately.
right,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, that works still. I guess what I'm saying is, like, we all came. New York is a place that you like come to, that you make like a great migration to, right? Like when you guys were moving and you would say, "Oh yeah, I'm moving to New York," would people go like, you know what I mean? Or like, would they be like impressed? Like, I feel like I always felt like New York is like a purpose-based place, like from the get-go, from when you start planning to get there. Like, I feel like you just moved to Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. But you moved to New York. Like, you know what I mean?
There is a...
Do you guys feel that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on a pedestal. I feel like even now, whenever like my mom or people or even myself, I say to people in Miami that like, oh, I live in New York now, there is a ooh and an ah or whatever.
Right.
I think what we were talking about was sometimes when you move here just for if you're moving to New York, I don't think a lot of people move to New York just for willy-nilly reasons. I think you move here.
Oh my God, I was about to ask you this.
Yeah, like I think you move here because you're like, there's something I want to pursue and I need to be in New York in order to really pursue it. And then we went down the rabbit hole of what happens when you're here mostly just because you're here to pursue something, but you're not necessarily here for your own joy or happiness.
Well, that's the thing I think with it is like, I think what you're saying totally does exist, but I also think the opposite of it exists in abundance too, where if you do look at someone just like kind of lives out in the whatever boring suburbs, I think that can be associated with like a lack of purpose, but maybe it's just a different one. And here you have people that are more like, I know my purpose and I'm chasing it, but I also think you have a ton of people who are just chasing the idea of a purpose like desperately, and they don't actually have one.
Yes.
And so it's easy to look down on that other thing of like, we're doing it correctly here. It's like a lot of people really are not.
Yeah.
They're just chasing a dragon they hope like hell exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can piggyback on that.
Totally.
Obviously, all we can speak to is comedy as being the purpose. That's why I think we're all here.
And if you want to talk about a purpose that doesn't fucking actually exist.
I picked the wrong purpose. It appears I picked the wrong calling.
Yeah.
So what I will say to that, to piggyback on that a lot of people think they're chasing a purpose and they're not. I'm producing a documentary about Miami comedy, and one of the things that comes up is a lot of people that didn't necessarily make the biggest splash for themselves in Miami in comedy have like left Miami to move to New York, and they will tell you the reason they're moving to New York is because like, well, it's just not gonna happen in Miami, and like New York will fix it.
Right.
Like, I'm not the problem. It's not that I didn't work hard enough. It's that Miami sucks, so I just have to go to New York, and then boom, it's all gonna start happening for me. And then they're now like, what we're learning through the doc is now they're like a couple years in, and they're like, oh, no.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, no, it's like, you know, you it's not that you were the problem, but you weren't not the problem. So I just say that to agree with your point of like, I think a lot of people think they're chasing a purpose here. And it just feels good for them to be like, I'm a New York comic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and
New York is an extreme place, right? It's a place that like lives in extremes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, you know, everybody here, it feels like, or at least it feels like the more you, and I'm by no means a pro comic or some shit, but the more time I'm spending doing it, the more I'm realizing that it feels like people are either fucking locked in or like fucked off completely. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I don't know many comics who are just
disagree.
Like, oh, really?
I would disagree. I think in New York, I think there's a lot of people in the in-between. You don't think that?
Interesting.
You don't
Well,
think
what's the in between?
Well, I shouldn't.
know.
You know,
It's
you're right. I
somewhere
shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't say fucked off. I mean like it. It's totally like it's so easy to think that you're being productive here when you're not. Like it's happened to me all the time. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
I would agree with that.
and especially like I look at the comics that I look up to, and I'm like, fuck, man, do you just have to fucking lock in and like not fucking deal with anything? I don't think so.
Well, I think a lot of people are struggling with that. Because I do think a lot of people are, certainly myself included, but other comics I've spoken with that have talked about how like the idea of what they thought we were getting into, which might not have been accurate to begin with. But
Right.
you just kind of have this thought of like, I'll do this, I'll get good, maybe do like a few late night spots, and then you'll be like touring and stuff. Whereas now it's such an all-consuming, like you do have to be locked in and just like make yourself a product essentially that's on display 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where it's just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I think so. If I'm understanding what you mean with like locked in, I think there are a lot of people locked in a way which is maybe conducive to a happy lifestyle. Because I don't want to be like everyone who's succeeding is some gross scene I just painted or whatever.
for sure.
But I do think there's a lot of people that are just like, at what cost? And honestly, the veil, has been ripped down so hard, I think, with that Riyadh Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
Of it just being like, what are we actually even doing?
Yeah, man. My set's on Friday. I'm nervous.
Doing off Riyadh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think
totally.
that might have been rambly and incoherent, but I think it is all tied into each other of like, what are we actually striving for?
And I don't think it was ever meant to be this way. I say that about social media too, which is a large part of the problem of being a comic now, as we've discussed ad nauseum as well too. Like, social media has become so brain rotting and poisonous, but I don't think that's how it was intended to be when it was created.
I think it was.
Oh.
I think it's
You may be right, actually.
I think
Tom from MySpace is the biggest villain of all time. Huh?
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they knew like the fucking Oppenheimer they were doing, and they probably did know like within however many years it's gonna look like this, but I think they like intentionally designed an addictive. It's just like they intentionally designed an addiction.
I was just talking to somebody. I think this is what we were talking about too. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, I'm just not happy. I just don't feel joy. And they were
This
like,
was us.
It was us, yeah. But the other person.
And then I was like, wait, let's broadcast this.
yeah, you were like, we should bottle this and make people sad. Yeah, great. Like, if I have to be
That's what I'm
sad.
fucking talking about. Hell yeah.
If I have
If
to
I
be
have to be sad, we're gonna get a YouTube ad out of it.
yeah, I'm gonna make $2 off of it. And they were like, yeah, I have everything. They were like, I'm having a really good year where I got a lot of things career-wise that I've been working towards. And they were like, you're crushing it. I go, am I? And they
That
were
was
like,
me.
yeah. And I was like, no, it wasn't you. It was
Oh,
another
no, we were
comic
having this conversation.
about
Right,
the
right,
conversation with this other comic. And I was like, I don't know what happens. I was like, am I? It doesn't feel like I am. Maybe because I just don't, these things don't matter right now. Like, I've had good things happen career-wise this year. But it's not, what do you do when the thing you usually turn to pull you out of something isn't working anymore? Like, and you're just kind of like, and because like for me, for the longest time, it was comedy and work. I was like, I'll just get over this breakup by writing 5 new jokes, or I'll just get a new job, or I'll just make a new podcast, or I'll just whatever. And I like I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but like those reserves are running really low. I don't have it in me to do that anymore.
Well, I think it's also you're puzzled now because you're like, it almost makes sense if you bomb and you feel like shit. At least that makes sense. Now you're sitting there going, I don't get it, dude. This stuff's going well. So why?
It's internal. Now you have to really.
Oh God, I fucking hate it.
But I think this also came up because, well, I remember the way it came up at the Globe is because I told you that I had a night off from stand up where I didn't have any spots, and that it kind of scared me because I was like restless and sad, and I wanted to just go back home to Miami, and I was like, I don't have a reason to be in New York right now. What do I do with myself? And my mom was like, go home and make dinner, go read a book, go see a friend.
You have nothing to do in New York.
Totally.
Like, she's like, what's wrong with you? Go to a museum.
Totally.
Like, you know.
Enjoy the city.
And then Henry blew my head through my ass when he was like, that's what happens when you're only in a city for one reason. If you're really only here for work and for comedy, then if you have a night when neither of those things are happening, you're like,
right.
What do I do with my hands?
Literally though, dude. And not only that, but you know, it's so funny because there are nights when I don't have any shows, and it'll be like a Friday or like a weekend night. I'm saying, like, you know, if it's a Friday or Saturday, you don't have any shows.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you go, oh my God, nobody likes me.
Right.
No, everybody hates me.
Yeah.
I'm not even fucking fun. And you're like, dude, it's not like, first of all, like to what you said earlier, it's like, first of all, stop you. Narcissistic as fuck to think that.
Right.
Like to be like, everyone's like scheming on you.
We
like,
all think
like,
that, though.
Oh,
We all
don't
do.
invite it. No, of course we do. It's only natural, but it's like, that's how I try to get myself out of it, to be like, nobody's like scheming.
Oh, you ever
on
leave
you.
a social function and you're like, I was so weird. Everyone's going to talk about how the way I broke a glass.
Didn't
or
even
I did.
notice you were there.
They didn't even notice you were there. And by the way,
They're all leaving going, "Oh my god, I leaned
was
against
so
the thing,
weird.
and then I knocked the picture over." And
Yeah, and I do think that is the one good thing about New York City with comedy specifically, or just New York in general. It's such a large city with so many people, and such a large comedy scene with so many comedians, and on top of that, so many gifted comedians, that it does kind of remind you. It humbles you. Yeah. That's an overrated statement. But it reminds you how small you are in the grand scheme of everything, and how long it really does take. Because you could be like, "Oh, I'm not booked tonight." So I could be like, "I'm a terrible comedian and people must hate me." It's like, no, there's just like 100,000 other people doing this. Like, that's it.
Everyone's a stand-up now.
Well,
everyone we walk down on the street is a stand-up or as a podcast.
Fucking annoying.
And it used to